obviously Brian Hartline's being given a lot of accolades and a lot of attention.
He absolutely is, and rightfully so. I mean, what he's done in recruiting in the last couple classes. I mean, people forget last year's class was just kind of a under the radar class. He signed 4 receivers that were quality prospects, but no big names, none of this, not the hoopla that we watched over the last week. And it really is funny because not only did he do an excellent job, but there's a guy at Ohio State who does a lot of work also in recruiting receivers, helps Brian Hartline, is Keenan Bailey, who's an absolute stud. He was there when I was there. And so between him, Hartline, Ryan Day, I mean, they're just killing it on the trail right now. And I think it's absolutely planned, calculated, and convenient that Hartline had this massive 3-day run right before coach's vacation so he can go to Bora Bora or wherever he's going to go and have a cigar and not worry about a thing.
That's sweet. You mentioned Keenan Bailey. This is a name that I've heard pop up a few times, but I know very little, if anything, about him. We've got a Buckeye show that we do live for an hour on Wednesday, and some of the beat writers brought up the great work, as you just mentioned, that he does. So what exactly, not necessarily his title, but what does he do that complements what the rest of the coaching staff does?
He's just really innovative. He's really a smart kid who works really hard. I mean, he was an intern at Notre Dame, and Tony Alford, when he came to Ohio State a year later, brought Keenan on as an intern. He became my intern, and he's since elevated. I don't know what his title is. I don't know that it matters. He's doing the same things, but he's just really, I don't know how he's just really different. I mean, he's young. He brings a different vibe, a different energy. He does a lot of stuff around development, cutting up different drills and showing how those drills apply to games and then the NFL. He just does an outstanding job just kind of painting a picture for a recruit or a current player and say, listen, here's the process. Here's what we do. Here's why it works. And he's exceptional at it. And it all comes from hard work, and he's a smart kid, and he's an extreme asset for Ohio State.
So obviously we culminated with spring practice a few months ago, and that's when the entire team was together, playing football. At least they've been together since then, and I'm just talking about any football team in the nation. So you as a coach, coaching staff, you know where you're strong, where you're weak, what needs to change, what needs to happen between the end of April and getting everybody ready on the first day of August and getting to it. So if you know you've got a position that, wow, we're weak at safety, or wherever the position is, what can you possibly do between being on the field at the end of spring practice and the beginning of August camp to try to correct some things and make some just create better football players magically, in a sense?
Right. Well, if you look at it, it's kind of a unique time, that third quarter, right? That post-spring but pre-training camp window. It's a 3-month window. And obviously it starts with a position coach putting together a detailed plan on how they're going to develop their players, right? It starts there right after spring ball, but it's unique because you look at it, it's May, June, July. That's what you have. In May, the coaches are on the road recruiting, gone. So it's really the strength coaches are doing everything with these kids, from physical development to making sure they're doing all the drills that you want them to do, all the extra work. The strength coaches are in charge, right? And then the coaches get off the road recruiting around Memorial Day, and then they have the month of June. There's camps, there's visits, but you have time with your players, right, to go on the field, do some work, meet in the classroom, teach football. You have that month of June, and then right about now, the end of June, these coaches, they hit the road for vacation. I mean, they usually get 3.5 weeks off, and that's the only time off you have all year. So you go with your family out of town, and again, it all falls back on the strength coaches. So the strength coaches are with those players all of the end of June and through July until you get back. And then it's time for training camp. So it's really, there's a lot of onus that falls on the strength and conditioning staff, because out of the 3 months, they have the kids basically solely for 2 of the 3. So as a position coach, you need to check in, you need to have a plan, make sure it's being executed. But that strength coach is the one that's really, turning the heat up on these players and getting them ready for training camp.